are going to get started right on time. So, before we get started, I just want to hear from a few of you. Do not be shy. I know it's a big group and you don't know anybody. So move through that fear. I just want to hear what you are excited about, what you want to learn, or why you were here. And if you want to volunteer, there is a button at the bottom of your Zoom. It says reactions, and there's a raise hand button. So just click that if you want to speak. Don't all of you speak at once. Okay, Jacob, go ahead. Jacob, can you hear me? What's going on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, how's it going? Happy to be here, and thank you so much for doing this. I'm excited to learn about better communication in all my relationships. I actually just went through a breakup, and I think the communication really started going downhill. We used to communicate really well, and so I'm excited to really just learn more about healthy communication and how to grow in all my relationships, not just romantic, but business relationships, friends, family, etc.
Fantastic. And thank you for going first. That is hard to do, so I really appreciate that. Before I ask for anyone else, this is a really common thing. Things start really well, the communication starts really well, and then it all goes to shit. Put up your hand, not your reaction hand, but your real hand, if you have experienced that in a relationship, current relationship, past relationship. It's like communication started okay, and then what the hell happened? We're going to show you why and how to fix that so it doesn't happen again. This time can be the last time. All right, Tanya, did you want to say something as well? You had a different hand and then it disappeared. If so, tell me. I would love to hear.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, actually, my name is Linda. I'm just using my friend's computer.
Okay.
I didn't know how to change that.
Go ahead.
So I guess what I'm most excited about, I got divorced last year, and kind of the same thing, but I've always been pretty like masculine in my energies, and I kind of want to learn how to be more feminine and talk so I can understand what the other person needs and not make up stories in my head, right? About
Yeah.
what's not there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just how I can like grow as a person. I know I have some like inner deep work to do. So
yeah. Great. And that's what's good, both for women and for men who are really looking to change their energy to a more dominant frequency. Even though we're focusing on communication here in this masterclass, by shifting even just the words, not to mention the energy along with those words, you end up changing your frequency and becoming energetically much more feminine or energetically much more masculine. The words are very powerful. All right, last one, Marilyn, and then we're going to really get started here.
Good morning from Australia. I'm here because I have repeatedly made the same mistake over and over again in my relationship with men, and I'm here to get where I'm wrong energetically and heal into like all the gaps in my communication.
Me too, Mommy.
Perfect.
Thank you.
That's it. Nasira, please mute yourself. Can you hear me? There we go. Fill in all the gaps in your communications. Great. Definitely going to help with that. All right, so let's get started here. Thank you, all my volunteers, and we're going to be asking for audience participation throughout this masterclass. So feel that fear, move through it, because that's how all these shifts are going to happen, right? Not just on this masterclass, but in life. You know, shifting this stuff is not easy. I could give you all this information, but If you feel that fear of putting yourself out there, being judged, whatever, what are you going to do with it? You're going to do nothing. You've got to be willing to move through that fear. So on that note, be willing to just have fun here. We're going to have fun in this masterclass, and that means moving through that, any fears that you feel. If you feel really inhibited, really contained, well, let's do something about it and put up your hand when I ask for it, and just express what you want to share. And then secondly, there's probably going to be some triggers that are going to come up on this call. If you've followed me or Mark for any length of time, you know how triggering we can be. Guess what? We're even more triggering in person. So we're going to cover that too. And as we go deeper, to explain a lot of this stuff. All right, so how the structure is going to go for this call. What we're going to do first, I'm going to be talking about polarity, polarized communication, depolarized communication, the problems in relationships, how communication, polarized communication shifts, all of that, right? So you don't have to have problems anymore. And I'm going to be doing that for about 35-ish minutes. And then I'm going to give the floor to Mark Benet, and he is going to be doing some role plays to demonstrate what this communication, masculine and feminine communication, really look like and feel like in an actual conversation, right? It's one thing for me to just talk about it or for you to read it in my books. It's another to actually see it in action. Totally different experience. And then after that, we will open it up to Q&A. So if you've got any questions that come up on this call, hold on to them because we will be asking, we do want to know so we can help you, give you answers. So before I start talking about problems that come up, I'm going to briefly talk about who I am and why the hell I'm here. Because you probably want to know that if you're not really familiar with me, and you've just seen a whole bunch of my memes all over the place on Facebook. So I have been practicing polarity for, what's it been, 2.5, 3 years, I think. Prior to that, I had gotten married to a wonderful woman, and I did a fantastic job of depolarizing the shit out of it. Really proud of myself. Caused a lot of problems, caused a lot of resentment, and it was all because of my own wounding. And that was after over a decade of self-improvement stuff. And once I discovered polarity and I started learning, really teaching myself masculine communication and teaching my wife feminine communication, we went from having like weekly fights and just all these problems, lack of attraction, all this stuff, to having no problems, like literally no problems, no fights. I'm not saying it's 100% perfect, but it is, way closer to perfect than I thought could ever be possible. And it is always moving in that direction. And that's what's possible for anybody else once you take polarity seriously and you take polarized communication seriously. And once I did that in my relationship, I became so passionate about sharing it with the entire world because I want that for everybody. And Mark, go ahead and share a little bit about yourself before we dive into this.
All right. Well, no matter how many books I read, no matter how much meditation I did, I'm still fucking up in relationships. And I couldn't figure out why. And over the course of a few decades, I count 8 broken hearts. So what was going on? I had it all figured out cognitively. And I know we actually have a few philosophers on this call. And men and women, what I'm going to tell you is that this isn't about philosophy. It's not about psychoanalysis. It's not about how many books you've read. It's not about how much meditation you've done. It's about masculine and feminine instinct and the masculine and feminine communication that is the best fit for that instinct, that speaks that instinct. So I'm here because I've changed my own life with polarity and enjoy an amazing relationship of a few years because of polarity. But I need men and women to stop creating dysfunctional relationships and tearing up their hearts and wrecking their souls. So I'm here with Zac and TC and Jason McKee, and we're just so passionate about bringing this information to as many people as possible, because there's so much suffering that is superfluous and it needs to stop. So thank you for being here, everybody.
All right. So let's talk about problems. Problems are why you are here. If you did not have problems in your love life, then why would you be here? You wouldn't need us. So you're here because there are problems and your love life is not as great and awesome and perfect and easy as it could be. So I'm going to go over a few of those problems, very common problems that you may have experienced in your love life before. And what I want to see, if any of these resonate for you, put up your hand, your actual hand, not the other hand, the reaction hand, that's for me addressing you. But I just want to see all of these hands up just to see who's resonating, who has these problems, because we're going to talk about solving them. Don't be shy. If it sounds like you, put up your hand. No need to be embarrassed, because this is, we've all been there. I certainly have been there for all the problems that I'm going to be talking about for men anyway. So I'm going to go through these for men first. Men, be honest, don't be shy. Have you ever had a woman who argues with you and you struggle to get her to stop when those arguments happen? Put up your hand. All right, pretty much all the men I see. A woman who judges you, judges your behaviors, judges your intentions, judges you as a person, judges your integrity. Put your hand up if you have a woman, have a woman who judges you. All right. A woman who resists your leadership, right? And that can be leadership, like trying to get her to do things, to communicate a better way, with plans, the bedroom, having sex. Who has had a woman who resisted your leadership? All right.
All right.
And
the more you participate, the more you get out of this, okay, people? The more you participate, the more you get out of it.
Woman who communicates with you or is communicated with you in a way that doesn't inspire you to step up and take care of her. It might even push you away. So that can be a lot of things. One really common thing is the way that she's trying to communicate her needs and desires. Right? Even something as simple as taking out the garbage or getting tampons from the store or whatever. You want to be inspired and feel devotion, but instead you just feel really obligated. And it's like, I'd rather just be in my man cave playing video games than doing anything to help you. Put up your hand. All right. And a woman who doesn't express much in the way of gratitude for what you do for her, right? Like no matter how much you do, it's like you're trying to meet these expectations and she's never truly satisfied, or she's satisfied for 10 minutes and then there's something else that bothers her. Put up your hand. And then lastly, experience a woman who's left you, cheated on you, or even just experienced that she's lost attraction for you, right? Like she used to be so into you and now it's kind of like you're like roommates. Put up your hand. All right, great. I mean, not great, that's unpleasant, but great, thank you for participating. So next, let's talk about women. Women, put up your hands if you have experienced a man who isn't or hasn't stepped up to make your life easier and you start to feel overwhelmed, neurotic, anxious, and just stressed, drained. Pretty much all of you. A man who doesn't show interest in fixing the relationship. You can see that it's not working the way it needs to, and then you try to fix it and nothing gets fixed. In fact, it probably even gets worse. Hands up. A man who doesn't listen to what you need and feel. You try expressing your feelings, or at least expressing what you think are feelings. Sometimes women have trouble with that. And all you get back is gaslighting or judgment, or once again, like looking at his cell phone and not really holding that loving space for you. Hands up, most of you, maybe all of you. A man who doesn't lead things forward, right? To exclusivity. Maybe you're always that, friends with benefits situationship, or you're in a relationship where it's like, is he ever going to lead this towards marriage? Or he proposes to you and it's 5 years later, and where the hell is the wedding? Hands up, any of those. A man who doesn't plan dates or outings. Maybe you did it first and then you got comfortable with each other and there's no more dates. You just are doing a whole bunch of Netflix and chilling, or maybe just the Netflix part. And lastly, a man who loses interest in you sexually and starts resorting to porn or cheating, emotionally or physically. All right. Thank you all for being honest. And, this is normal. This is normal human relationships and love lives right now. It's a tragedy, but this is what most people have experienced at least one time, or maybe it's a recurring pattern that happens over and over again. So there is good news. There is a cause to this problem, and that means there is a solution to all these problems, and that means there's a solution to all these problems. The problem is that a man and a woman do not know how to meet each other's needs. And the interesting thing is, if a woman doesn't know how to meet a man's need, typically the man is not going to know how or be able to meet the woman's need. And if the man is not meeting the woman's need, then typically the woman is not going to know how or is not going to feel willing to meet the man's need. So if one partner, one person, if you're single still, learns how to shift and start meeting the other person's needs, then guess what's going to happen? They're going to meet your needs automatically. And a lot of this has to comes down to learning how to communicate better. But before we talk about what that communication looks like and what it doesn't look like, we've got to talk about what these needs are, because there's so much bullshit out there about what men and women really need. And there's bullshit, and then there's kind of pseudo bullshit where there's some truths wrapped into other layers of bullshit, and it's only going to be semi-helpful. For example, love languages, right? There's some value in that. It's not that it's all nonsense, but if both man and woman are complimenting each other and giving each other gifts and all that stuff, guess what? You're going to have a really, really nice, roommate situation on your hands. It's not going to be a polarized love life. So the real needs, the most important needs for a man and woman, what a man needs is to lead. He needs to be able to lead, and that means he needs to feel received in his leadership. He needs to, for a man who's not feeling his dominance, he needs to feel comfortable leading, right, and not feel judged, he needs to feel respected as the leader. He needs to feel that there's a point in leading, right? That you're actually grateful for his leadership. And typically that's a lot easier at first, right? The early dating phase, the courting phase, because it's all built in. And then somewhere between then and breakup time, it all goes to hell. And it can be really easy for a woman to think, oh, it's just all the man's fault. He's just not leading. I'm just, I was waiting and he just wasn't stepping up. And I was like trying to tell him to lead and he wasn't leading. And well, guess what? You can shift that yourself, because you're doing so much as a woman to not meet a man's needs, right? All the time that you are in your masculine energy, all the time that you are communicating what you need and what you desire in a way that is in any way masculine, you are not meeting a man's need to lead. And then for a man, right, it's not all a woman's fault, it's her responsibility, it's half the man's responsibility. What's going on there? A woman needs to feel cherished. Not just feel cherished, but be cherished, right? She needs to feel that dominance from a man, that masculine leadership, and from a place of love, right? Where she can actually feel cherished. She can feel that energy where you are taking care of her, you are providing her for her. And I'm not just talking about financially. That's just one small aspect of provision. I am talking about energetically being in that masculine role and leading everything in the relationship and doing it out of love. Right? You are giving to her, you are providing for her, you're making her feel special. And yeah, sure, that has a lot to do with love languages and has so much and so much more. But guess what's going to happen? The more that you let a woman start leading, even subtly, guess what's going to happen to your motivation to lead? Guess what's going to happen to your motivation to cherish her? You're going to flush it down the toilet. You let that happen because you let a woman lead. So if you want to get your need met to lead, you need to be a good leader and lead a woman out of leading and lead her into her feminine energy, feminine communication. So you're going to do that with masculine communication, right? As a man. So I'm going to give you a few examples of what depolarized communication looks like. So our world today, all we're being taught for the most part is depolarized communication. I call it depolarized, shitty communication. It's what roommates do to communicate with each other. It's not what a dominant man and a radiant woman use to communicate with each other. And that's why there is so many problems that crop up, and why a man's need doesn't get met and why a woman's need does not get met, their core needs. So what does this look like? Let's do another hands up session. So for women, have you experienced a man who is judging you, but with that critical energy, that negative energy, and he's not giving you any direction even of what he wants you to do? All you're feeling is criticized. Hands up. All right, so that's depolarized. That's not healthy. A man who talks about his feelings. You know, I feel really sad that when you did that today. Are you talking about your feelings? Like, oh, I feel really sad, or I feel, not good. And then he's like, oh yeah, me too. Hands up if you've experienced that. God, that's got to be the worst. A man who's asking permission for things. So, could we go out today? Can I give you a kiss? Can I have your number? Or even just not permissive questions, but you can feel in the energy there is permissiveness. He's not truly stepping up into his leadership. You can feel it. Feel it in your body. Doesn't turn you on. All right. How about a man who passively waits for a woman to make decisions, right? He's not even communicating. He's just kind of energetically waiting and hoping that you do the communicating. You do the decision making. Hands up. A man who asks what a woman wants to do tonight. Like, where do you want to go tonight? What do you want to eat today? What do you want to do today? What movie do you want to watch? A lot of putting the ball in your court to make all the decisions instead of being a man and just making a decision. A man who tells a woman what to do, but it's energetically forceful, right? So when we talk about leading, talking about healthy leadership as a loving gift, as opposed to that controlling energy, right? Where what's happening when you comply with it, you're being subjugated, right? And you're not submitting in a healthy way or being controlled. So he might be telling you what to do, what to wear, what to eat, how to communicate, and you can feel you're just putting yourself in a box. You're becoming smaller to appease him in some way. All right, also not healthy. And then men, tell me if a woman has ever communicated with you in this way with a hands up. A woman who is blaming you. You never do what you say. You said this, you're always breaking your word, all those kind of judgments and energetic attacks. Hands up. A woman who tells a man what to do. Like, here's a fun one. Can you get me some, it could be like, hey, get me some tampons from the store right now. Now that's really direct and masculine, but it could also be a bit more subtle and soft. Hey, could you maybe please, honey, sweetie, get me some tampons from the store? Guess what? That's leading. That's 100% leading. Hands up if you've had a woman who's done that. And this can be hard for women, right? Because a lot of women know that they don't get a good response from men when they're being really direct. So they try to like soften it with all these sugar coating things and sprinkles. And then it's like, they can still feel that a man's like doing it out of obligation, right? It's not doing it out of cherishment. I don't know if that's a real word, cherishing you. It's doing it out of obligation. A woman who's making judgments on a man. So you're talking to me disrespectfully, right? You're talking to me disrespectfully, you're being rude, things like that. A woman who resists a man's leadership. So here's a fun one. In the bedroom, I'm not in the mood for sex tonight. I just want to be on my phone. We're not going to have sex tonight. I have a headache. Something like that. Now I can be out of the bedroom too, but you can feel that energetic resistance, right, in her communication. Hands up. All right. A woman who reminds a man, don't forget your keys, honey. Don't forget your coat. Oh, don't forget to brush your teeth. You forgot to do that yesterday. Hands up if you've been mothered with that kind of communication before. Isn't that wonderful to receive that as a man? It just feels so good and cherished, don't you? No. A woman who says feelings that aren't actually feelings. It's a big one. So I feel unheard. I feel disrespected. I feel unloved. I feel uncared for. all of those feelings that aren't feelings. Yeah. So ladies, those aren't feelings, just so you know. And that might be why a man's not responding well, because I'm always expressing my feelings. The man doesn't care. No, you didn't even start expressing your feelings. We're going to get to that, though. Don't worry. We're going to fix that. So before we talk about the solution to this, right, actual polarized communication, which is why you're here, briefly, I want to talk about what's going to happen if you don't shift your communication. And you've already experienced this. You've already been trying this depolarized communication for decades. How's that going so far? So if you don't shift it, what's going to happen is it's going to be more fighting, more resentment, more disconnection. One partner will likely cheat or resort to porn, or it'll be emotional cheating. You'll start to withdraw energetically because they're just not getting their needs met in some way. May lead to a breakup, may lead to a divorce, and all of the fallout with that, with children and finances and complete mess. One or both partners are just going to become increasingly stressed out. Women tend to get more neurotic. Men tend to just want to withdraw and just, go to the woodworking and go out to the bar, and they don't come back all night. It's not, the relationship's dying way before it actually ends. So checks out, withdraws, sex life completely falls apart. Communication tends to just get worse and worse over time. And then there's the heartbreak, right? There's dealing with the heartbreak, whether there's the breakup or not. And none of those are outcomes that you want, right? That's all tragic. None of it is necessary. And it's all happening because you don't know how to communicate better. You don't know how to meet your partner's needs by shifting your communication. So, polarized communication. Let's talk about that. So the way that we teach polarized communication in the Academy, in our 6-month program, is we break things down. There are 3 main pieces to masculine communication, and there's 4 main pieces to feminine communication. And where this is about how you're getting your needs met, how you're polarizing the relationship. So I'm going to talk about men first. So for a man, you're going to be shifting your words, but you're also going to be shifting your energy. Dominant masculine communication is 1, take charge energy, right? Imagine like a teacher or a boss or a judge, right? He's in control, right? He is the leader, right? The woman or the whoever it is not the one that's in control. You are feeling in control, and you are speaking as if you were in control. And then second, it is a gift-giving energy, all right? You're not an asshole, right? You're not just a controlling piece of shit. No, you are a loving man who is giving your leadership, giving your provision, your boundaries, your direction, your clarity as a gift, energetically, because you love your woman, right? You're cherishing her with that. So really important to pay attention to the energy, because you could get all the words right, but if you are just like a weak and sniveling and not in, feeling have no confidence in yourself, or if you're just being an asshole, this communication is going to fall really flat. It's not going to work. So 3 forms of communication. First is judgments. And judgments have such negative connotations, but judgments are a huge part of masculine communication, and they're healthy. So for example, like, hey, you're leading. Hey, you're manipulating right now. You are you're trying to control this. You're not being vulnerable. You are not being permissive. You are resisting right now. Those are you're initiating. Those are all judgments, okay? Now, when you're expressing that as the man, it should be, once again, you're in charge and it's loving. Hey, babe, you're leading right now. That's it, okay? It's not a criticism. It's not an attack. It's just a healthy judgment. What you're actually doing is teaching the woman. You're teaching her how about her behavior so that she can do better, which is not just going to be beneficial for you so that you don't get annoyed and irritated and pushed away. It's going to be better for her, because how is she going to be able to be led into her feminine, right? So that you can feel that desire to cherish her, so that she can let go of all of her anxiety and eroticism if she's not being taught what she's doing wrong, right? That's a gift.
It's really good. The whole beginning was good.
Second is directives. Directives. What are directives? Directives, you're directing a woman to stop doing something or to start doing something. So when you're directing her to stop doing something, that's like a boundary, right? Hey, don't do that. Stop being disrespectful. Stop shouting. Man, I'm having a mind blank when I'm going through these examples. Don't lead me. All of that is you're setting a boundary. This is not appropriate, is what you're saying, basically. And again, take charge, and you're giving that as a gift. It's an act of love, but firm love. And then towards something else. Hey, babe, ask me permission if you want something. Or, ask permission. Just tell me what you're feeling. Right? Just tell me what the problem is. Tell me what you need. Those are all directives. They're healthy directives. You're directing her towards a healthy, warm way of communicating or behaving. So again, she knows what to do. And then all she has to do is let go and follow your leadership. And it's really simple if you know where you're actually leading her to. And then third is leading questions. So leading questions. What are you feeling? Where do you feel that in your body? Why do you feel that way? What is underneath that? What is it that you need? Those are all leading questions. What are you doing with leading questions? You are leading a woman into her body, right out of her head, where all the judgments and stories happen. And there's a lot of stuff that's not going to be very good if she stays there. And into her feeling, into her heart, into her beautiful feelings, into her vulnerability, and then also into leading her to explain why she's feeling a certain way, so that you can understand her and so that she can understand herself. Right, so it's coming from a place of curiosity, but you're also leading her somewhere specific, and it's going to be in her best interest. Right, it's not going to be in her best interest if she's just angry and judging you, and it's like she doesn't know what she's feeling, why she's feeling it, where it is in her body. That's not going to be helpful for anyone. So leading questions. Now let's talk about women, feminine communication. It's very different. Feminine communication is where you are letting go of all control and you are being vulnerable and permissive, right? You're not trying to control anything. That's what makes it all the communication permissive. You're not trying to get an outcome. You're not trying to lead. When you're trying to get an outcome, you're leading energetically. And it's vulnerable, where you are energetically exposing yourself. Right? You are showing yourself, you're expressing yourself fully without holding back, without inhibiting, and without trying to lead. So 4 forms of feminine communication. First is expressing needs. Expressing needs. So, and a lot of women, by the way, this is important for both men and women, most women are super disconnected from what they actually need. Right? They don't actually know. That's really important to know for men, right? When you're leading a woman to express her needs, and it's important for women because you got to get connected to your needs. And saying needs as an I need statement, that's going to really help you reconnect to what you need. And it's going to feel vulnerable, and you might feel weak, and it's like, oh my God, this is conflicting with my independence identity. And that's good, because now you're dropping more into your feminine. So for example, I need help. I need a hug. I need some reassurance. You feel the vulnerability in that. You're not leading like, hey, I need you to help me. I need you to give me some reassurance right now. No, you're not doing that. I need help. I need reassurance. It's vulnerable. You're not trying to control anything. And then your man knows what you actually need, right? You told this 20-minute story about why he's such a piece of shit and isn't doing anything for you, when all you had to do is I really just need help, right? I need a hug right now. Wow, what a difference in communication. And guess what? What a different response you're going to get too. Second one is expressing problems. So, I can't do this. The credit card isn't working. The kids are driving me crazy. I don't know how to use feminine communication properly. I'm really struggling just feeling my feelings and expressing them vulnerably. Right? Those are problems. Now, when I say problems, I'm not talking about, just complaining for 5 minutes about why your man has a problem. It's very different than what I'm talking about. What is your problem? And what is the problem that you are dealing with that you need help with? That's what you are expressing. And again, no complaining, right? Feel the energy. It's just vulnerable. The third one is feelings. So I feel sad. I feel anger. I feel shame. I feel guilt. I feel anxiety. I feel fearful. I feel irritation. And then, of course, happy feelings. I feel joy, happy, excited. Guess what? That's most of the feelings. So women, when you are talking about your feelings and how your man doesn't give a shit about your feelings, if you are feelings like, I feel disrespected, I feel unloved, I feel uncared for, I feel unvalued, I feel, I feel, well, yeah, we'll go with those ones first. Those are all judgments, all right? Those are not feelings. If you are saying feelings, we call them ED words, like I feel disrespected, I feel disrespected, I feel irritated, I feel annoyed, I feel frustrated. Guess what? Those are feelings, but there's blame there. You really feel into that. You can feel the blame in that energy. And guess who's also going to feel that blame? Yeah, your man. And he's going to not like it, right? Because nobody likes to be blamed for somebody else's feelings. And you're also, just in the way that you're using those words, you're not taking full responsibility for your feeling in that moment either, right? You're putting the responsibility onto someone else. So it's really important to use I feel statements without any ED words, right? Or hurt. Oh, the biggest one, I feel hurt. That's blame, ladies. Right? I feel hurt. Who would have hurt you? I wonder who was it that hurt you? Oh yeah, it's your man, right? He did the hurting. It had to be him, right? So when you say I feel hurt, that's not vulnerable. The actual feeling, I feel sad or I feel anger. Those are real feelings. Unheard, yeah, so that's an ED word too, right? Because it's not an actual feeling. Unheard, what feeling is that? No, that's a perception that you're not being heard. When you feel unheard, how do you feel? Anger, right? Or sad, or irritation, right? That's typically one of those. So be really careful with your language, ladies, because that makes a big difference. No man wants to hold space for a woman who says, oh, I feel really unheard and unseen. But if you say, I feel really sad, or I feel a lot of anger right now and I'm just struggling with it, that's different. Right? A man wants to hold space for that, or most men will. And then desires is the last one. And this can be the most triggering one for women because women often think like permission. I don't have to ask my man permission for anything. I'm a strong, independent woman and I am just as equal as my man. Well, I agree that you are equal, but here's the thing. Permissiveness is not about being inferior to a man, right? Imagine a man who is giving you provision, right? He is giving you his provision through his leadership, through his gifts, and all you are doing, right? You're asking for it, right? How is that? What does that have to do with being inferior? And more than that, if you are fully in your worth as a woman, you know that you don't need to control anything. You don't need to make anything happen. You don't need to lead your man into giving you anything. You're so worthy that all you have to do is ask permission. And of course, because he loves you and sees you as worthy, if it is something that makes sense for the relationship, for you, he'll want to give it to you.
It's a weird way of...
Right? It's so simple, but you have to believe that. Permissiveness is actually a huge sign of self-worth, but it's feminine self-worth.
For what?
And it feels amazing for a man to receive that from a woman, right? Because that's about respect. That's about respect for his provision, for his leadership. So, for example, may I share what I am feeling right now? Can I have some help? May I have some clarity? May I have some understanding? May I have some reassurance? All of that is permissive. And you got to be careful again in your energy, because you could bastardize all of these words and phrases and weaponize them and turning it into leadership again, right? Where you're not actually shifting into your feminine, you're just using it as a new way to control. Hey, may I share what I'm feeling right now? Hey, Mark, can I share what I'm feeling with you? Can you give me some clarity on that? Does that sound very feminine and permissive? No, that sounds like I'm leading, because I am leading. It's not about the words, but using those words can allow you to drop into that feminine energy where you're not trying to get an outcome. And that's ultimately what matters, right? Because what does a man need? He needs to lead. And if you are leading with your energy, then you're the one that's leading, right? Not him in that moment. His need's not going to be met. Now, men, this is really important. I've talked about feminine communication. I really hope you were paying attention to that. Because if you just think you can learn masculine communication, boom, you're done. No, you haven't even started. You need to learn feminine communication just as well, or I would say even better than your woman. Why is that? Because you need to be teaching her. You need to be in that leadership role. You need to be in charge of leading her into her heart, opening her into her radiance. And a big part of that is teaching her feminine communication. Because it's not just the words that you're teaching her. You're teaching her how to let go of control with you. How to let go of all control. What a unbelievably valuable gift for her, right? How to let go of that resistance. How to communicate all of her needs instead of inhibiting them and holding them back so that she just builds up resentment for you, right? You need to teach her this. You need to know feminine communication in and out and lead her into it, because that is what is going to open her up. And if if your woman is into this and maybe she's on this masterclass with you, well, that's great. So it's going to make things a lot easier. But your job isn't done unless you are leading her through this. It's a million times harder for her to figure this all out by herself. It's like, oh, I thought I was vulnerable, but no, I kind of just pissed him off and I don't know why. And he's not giving me any clarity. He hasn't told me what I'm doing wrong. He hasn't directed me what I should be doing instead. He's just left in a huff. That's not leading. That's nothing, right? That's being emasculated. So you need to step up as her leader and give her that amazing gift of leading her into feminine communication. All right. So you are probably sick of me talking your ear off by this point. So let's stop here and I am going to pass the mic over to Mark and he is going to show you what this communication looks like in action by doing some really powerful role plays.
There you go.
Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Zac. I really have this responsibility to coach my woman to use feminine communication. Well, has it dawned on you that we are in a trauma matrix on a prison planet and she's hyper-masculinized and she isn't going to find the way out of that labyrinth herself? She found herself in that labyrinth. And you can feel it when she addresses you with this unconscious, unintentional disrespect in the form of masculine communication. She doesn't know how to get out of it because that's how she's been protecting herself this whole time. So she's using masculine communication as a form of self-provision. That depolarizes your relationship completely. So you actually have to coach her out of that. You got to coach her out of that because you're devoted to her. Because you have a vision of a polarized relationship where you're in the masculine. Your woman's not in the masculine, you're in the masculine. She's got to let go of that death grip on masculine communication and masculine self-worth, because if she doesn't, you guys are going to have that slow ride of dysfunction. So that's why you got to do it. But you also got to do it for your own masculine self-worth, right? Because every time a woman judges you or gives you a directive and you don't say anything, guess what's that? No, what that's called? It's self-emasculation. Self-emasculation. So coaching your woman to use feminine communication is the antidote to self-emasculation. It's how you create masculine self-worth with your woman. So this is not some burden. It is a responsibility. It is a responsibility that you can undertake with enthusiasm. Coaching your woman to use feminine communication. It's one of the greatest gifts that you can give. It is your provision. All right, we're going to start For the role play here, I'm going to talk to my main man, Jason McKee. Jason McKee, unmute yourself, buddy.
Hello, Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark Benet. I'm up here, dude.
Great to see you, man. So Jason graduated from the academy recently, and he is a coach now. We have this apprentice coach program, and he is a rock star. Really happy to see you, buddy. Take a minute to tell us about how the academy has given you some positive shifts in your life, in your relationship, whatever.
Awesome. I just noticed, I think it was Tom with the Legalized Freedom shirt, and I think that's absolutely awesome. I love that.
That's a shift. Good.
Yeah. So I had to shout him out. I think the biggest thing, actually, I know that the biggest thing for me, the biggest shift that I made was internally. All the external was fantastic. I now give directives really easily. I am very, very, very self-confident. I am polarizing a relationship as we speak. It's wonderful. But the biggest shift for me was my own masculine self-worth. It was really embodying that I actually do need to lead a beautiful, polarized relationship with the radiant woman. And prior to the academy, I didn't have that. That was not inside of me. And now it is. And that comes entirely from doing, I don't know what we're at now, maybe 60, 65 or so student-led role plays in the academy with radiant women, right? And just realizing over and over and over again that what I have here, what I have to give is actually a gift, and it's valued tremendously, right? And that changed everything for me. So that's my testimonial, Mark.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's fantastic. All right, we're going to do a role play now. Jason is going to be a man, and I'm going to be a woman. And I want everybody to just really feel what's happening between us and note when you after the role play is over. Action.
Hey, fuck was that about? You're talking with that guy Zac, with that guy Zac Rody. He's your ex-boyfriend, isn't he?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. I saw your fucking phone.
Mark, you're in my fucking phone? Are you in my fucking phone again?
I saw the fucking messages, and you're messaging him. And
you are in
whatever you're doing, whatever the heck you're doing,
you're a jealous bastard. You are a jealous bastard.
Whatever you are doing is extremely disrespectful.
Oh, it's extremely disrespectful.
Whatever the
is
heck.
it not extremely disrespectful that you're in my phone? That's a double standard, Mr. McKee. That's a double standard, Mr. McKee. I'm extremely disrespectful, and you're in my fucking phone again.
Yeah, I saw your messages. I saw it. I know that you're talking to him. I know that you're messing. Whatever the heck you're doing, it's not right. That's for sure.
I'll tell you why. You want to know why? Because my boyfriend's really possessive, and I got to talk to my ex-boyfriend because I'm
No, not a. Pause.
Yeah, you don't got anything to say to that, Mr.
Pause.
Possessive.
Pause right here. Okay.
Pause what?
All right. We're going to turn this conversation around.
Stop looking at the fucking phone.
Just take a minute. Okay. I was being off center there. I apologize.
You think?
Hey, babe. Sweetheart. We're going to change the direction of this conversation. Don't be disrespectful.
It doesn't matter how sexy you are.
Hey.
You're just double standard, man.
Markella. You're being disrespectful right now. Stop that. Tell me how you're feeling right now. What are the feelings coming up in your body?
There is no words for these feelings. It's driving me nuts. I don't care how good you are in the sack. You're driving me nuts.
Markella, sweetheart. You're gonna go into your feelings now. Tell me what's coming up in your body.
I don't know, something crazy right here in my chest. I don't know what it is. Godzilla.
Keep feeling that.
I don't know. I'm just so pissed off.
Hey, babe.
I'm angry.
Okay, good. Sit with that anger that's coming up in your chest. Just keep feeling that.
It's really hard to sit with anger.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really hard.
I know. You're doing great. Keep sitting with it. Keep feeling it. See what else comes up. What else is going on for you right now?
I just feel sad.
Yeah.
I can't breathe very well.
Okay.
I'm feeling really tight
Mm-hmm.
in my chest.
Where do you feel that sadness?
Like all over, like 2 columns going down my chest.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
It's okay. Take a few deep breaths. A couple big ones. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And just keep sitting with those feelings. Tell me if anything else comes up.
I don't know how to share this without blaming you. I need some help. Can I have some help?
Yeah. Tell me what you need to get across, and I'll give you the proper way to communicate it.
I feel
It's a
really
lot for a
anxious.
guy to have to do.
When you were
Because
looking
what
at
about
the
your
phone.
emotions?
Mm.
It's the part I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. You hear the beginning part.
Yeah,
and
completely
thing
understand.
I'm not liking
You
right
need
now.
to get it.
He started a fire and then
Yeah.
he's acting like
Yeah,
He
now
doesn't
he's like,
deserve to
now
be
she needs to be
I don't
safe.
go through your phone.
Yeah.
I made you feel this. Oh no.
I do trust you.
Yeah.
Now I did see.
Okay.
That's a little hard.
Well, this is one role play.
And
Yeah.
My
Definitely
guys have all
not
been to
right.
this thing and they said this
I
is
know that he's one
above
of your exes.
nanofire, and they said
Right.
if your woman
That's
does
why I
this,
left
it'll be
this up.
incredible. And I said,
Now, I'll also give you some more clarity. I did not bring this up in the proper.
see, that's what I wanted him to say. Okay.
Not
Just
fuck that
said
one
with
up.
that first.
Just start that. Let's agree on that one.
So
I
we're
would
gonna
start
go into it
I
right
said,
now.
you know, fucked up. I just got in my emotions.
I want you to tell me
Attacked you. Totally apologize. I would have explained a little bit more about that.
how long you've been messaging
And you
this
would
guy.
soften a little bit easier because you're not going to want to not even apologize. What the fuck?
But he is saying what he doesn't want her talking.
I
He said,
I have a hard time answering this question because I feel like I'm on the witness stand.
It's okay, babe. I want to get down to the bottom of
Gotta
the
make
feelings
it
here.
okay. Even
See
if
what
she
was
did
coming up
something
for you
weird.
right before, whatever was coming up for you before you messaged him.
'Cause that was-
I feel anger when you ask me that question.
Yeah. Sit with that. And then go ahead and tell me.
Just 2 weeks.
Okay.
May I share why I texted him?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Well, because I just
We're agreeing.
sensed that I wasn't talking to you in the right way. That I was being really judging and blaming, and I just reached out to him for some help.
Yeah. And what were the feelings that were coming up there when you were perceiving that you weren't speaking in the right way to me?
Felt a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Because I felt the distance between us.
Yeah.
When I was blaming him.
You know how much I love you, right, babe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I want you to just sit with that fear just for a second, and then I'm going to give you a directive. Okay. You still feel that? That fear that you were feeling before you messaged him a couple weeks back?
Not now, no.
Okay. Okay. Anytime that fear comes up, you're going to share it with me right away. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm here to help you. 100%.
And she, like the woman's
And if there's
kind of
anything like
stupid.
that coming up, I need to know. I need to know so that I can lead
It's
better.
interesting to
All right.
observe.
So that I can lead with devotion.
I get what they're doing, but
Now,
Because you're the beginning part.
as far as
I don't
messaging the
this
exes,
particular role play right here. I'll tell you that right now, but
I'm setting a boundary
well,
right
what
here.
they said the whole
Right
thing,
now.
it's so much.
Neither of us are ever going to be in communication with any of our ex-boyfriends or girlfriends, depending on whose case it is. Okay? Not at all. No messaging, no phone calls.
this is what
no
I do.
dates,
See,
nothing.
I am like setting the
Alright.
boundaries. Like,
Don't
don't
tell me the feelings.
talk to
that you
women on
You shouldn't
Facebook.
have to do that.
And it
though.
usually is the other way around. Usually men are more
Oh, it's all about
jealous of their
resistance.
women.
You shouldn't have to do
Yeah.
that though. You shouldn't have
But
to be monitoring.
I also
that's
feel-
some masculine protection, and
I also
understand
feel
what you're saying.
grateful.
You needed me. It's
And I'm
totally
happy.
worse. Doing shit like that was already wrong, no doubt. Then you having to take
For your
masculine
leadership and provision.
position because you've done that in all your relationships, whether you know it or not. You've been
I want
hurt
to
by people that were not
have my
included.
freedom to connect with
Plus,
my
it's in the
activists,
whole
but I
world,
also
right?
know
That way. I mean,
that's
women
more
came
important
into
to
the world
submit to your
drop
devoted
into
leadership.
that arena
Mhm.
of not being safe, basically. It's like you land from space
And cut.
in an unsafe world.
I
It makes sense.
wasn't
you're
cutting
open.
them.
Really
So-
masculine is claiming a woman and then carrying an
Now I'm gonna open
about
this
the
up. Thank you,
relationship
Jason.
to
We're
put
gonna
out those
open this up.
parameters.
Oh, the whole thing
Like,
has
that is
to be
cool.
done
For
because
either
you're
to
doing
raise
it
their
for
hand
us to have
Hey, Mark,
and
right
I'm going to stop
working
you.
Yeah.
So let's actually
Yeah.
hold that until after TC goes because
No,
she's
it's
got a
claiming-
thunderstorm and I just want to
claiming.
make sure that she goes before getting disconnected.
Femininity where all your gifts can come
oh,
out.
all right.
You need to be able to go into
TC, you're
Leave
next.
that over there.
and men need to lead, and I see
You're next, thunderstorm.
Right.
They're not knowing their strength. I have not known my strength.
All right, girl. Good to see you.
I'm gonna learn this shit.
So we're gonna start off with just share for a minute or less. Positive shifts, changes, transformations since being in the academy. TC is a graduate and she's back in the mastermind, and we're all really happy to see the mastermind as the postgraduate academy. Tell me, TC.
Well, the biggest shift for me since graduating is the fact that I feel now so grounded in my feminine self-worth and all those control issues that I had before. Oh, I need to control this. Oh, I need to have everything planned out. Oh, I don't need to ask permission for anything because I'm super independent. I now know that all of those stem from woundings and trauma. And now this shift into my feminine self-worth just makes it so easy for me to be permissive and to let go of control and feel real enjoyment actually doing it. My relationships have healed. My relationship with my father that was broken for so long, that has healed. I am attracting more feminine women into my circle as friends, more dominant men into my circle as, potential love interests. And I just feel so happy and so blessed that I was able to make this shift. And now I can express all my feelings vulnerably and permissively. And I feel really good. I feel so grounded in feminine self-worth because of this.
Oh, music to my soul. Thank you very much, TC. All right, so we are going to do a role play now, and this role play, I'm going to be a man. TC's going to be a woman. And again, I want everyone to just observe how you feel while you're watching us. And if there are some shifts, take note of that, and we'll talk about it after the role play.
You really have some nerve flirting with that woman in front of me.
You know you like it, babe. Every time I flirt with a woman, it turns you on. Don't even pretend that it doesn't.
What are you even saying right now? My family is here. I feel you just embarrassed me in front of everybody.
Turns
Now
them on
everyone's
too.
questioning. What?
Oh, God.
That's what I said. It turns them on too. Listen, when a man is on the prowl, he's like a predator. And everybody sees that and they love it. They get turned on.
Oh,
So
okay,
don't
so
play this game to hey.
your friends have been looking at me kind of funny. How would you like if I go flirt with them? You're so disrespectful. You have no respect for this relationship at all.
It would turn me on if you flirted with these people. That's what I'm trying to get to you. You know, you're all so strict about how we got to behave together. I say open it up. Let's just flirt with other people.
Like a dick.
That way we're going to really
That's
be more
not what we
attractive.
discussed when we started the relationship. What are you even saying right now?
Are you telling me you're not open to change?
Sacred relationship.
I thought you were this like
Oh my
transformational
God, what is
evolution.
happening? Am I in the Twilight Zone?
So I didn't sign up for a woman who's going to stay static, who's not going to change and not evolve. I'm saying that when we flirt with other people, we make it spicy and hot between us, babe. Get with the
My
program.
family, they're laughing at me. My friends are talking behind my back because you're so flirtatious with them. How do you think that makes me feel?
Babe, what I'm trying to tell you is that you've got to get rid of these old notions of what it means to be in a relationship. Okay? You're
You are not ready
suffocating
for a
us.
relationship.
You're
You are
suffocating
not
us.
ready for a relationship.
Oh, I'm not ready for a relationship. How could I be? See, this is the thing. I can't be limited. See, I can't be limited.
Well, you shouldn't have been with me then, because
No, you need to grow. See, what you're doing is you got this, you're strangling us.
what the fuck is
You're
going on?
actually
You know,
strangling.
stop talking to me. Like you're pissing me off right now, and I can't even look at you. I can't even talk to you. If all these people weren't here, I'd probably just slap you in your face. Like honestly, some nerve you have actually talking to me like that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think your family really likes me. They see somebody. They see a man who's free, a man who's got virility. a
You're
man who won't
delusional.
compromise. What's that?
You're delusional.
Listen, when I talk to your mom, she lights up. Okay? She can feel my virility. She can
Because
feel
she
my
doesn't know that you're trying to fuck my sister.
What?
What do you think that makes me look like? And you're doing it in front of everybody. Like have some respect.
I'm trying to fuck your sister. I hadn't even thought about that. That's what you got in your fucking mind. So
You're
really
smiling at her all the
jealous.
time.
You're jealous. Of course, your sister's beautiful. You're jealous and possessive. This is what we're doing. We're opening things up so you can transmute the wound. You've got a jealousy and possessive wound.
I don't want to talk
Okay?
to you anymore. Like honestly, I just want to walk away from you. I can't stand you. I can't stand to look at you. I don't even want you.
Bag.
But you've got to realize that what your body's
Right.
telling you is something that's actually important that
We-
needs to be listened to.
We could use an
Yeah.
example and
So what happened
deep
is-
into this, both of us. Because
If you
I
stay
see all it
in
is
this
communication
space,
skills.
holding space, holding
And
space, holding
I would love
space,
to do it with you.
and yet
It's more
that
than
leadership
role-playing,
energy
just
is
use a
not
real
online,
situation
that
like
masculine instinct is
one
not
maybe
online.
that happened the last week.
You know, she may be
You
grateful.
just go over it and go, okay, how could I
But she
done
won't
it? How could I
respect
done
you.
it then? And I start-
The woman respects
'Cause
the
I want to hear
man
what you're
when
saying.
his leadership
You're agreeing that
energy
you
is
shouldn't hold
online.
space.
She may be
Yeah,
grateful
we'll
otherwise,
talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear
but
that.
she's
Yeah.
not going to be polarized by you holding space. It might feel great to her in some ways. I'm not denying that. But she's not polarized
It's a
by it.
miss.
She's
It's some kind
polarized
of polarity.
when she feels your masculine instinct. She's polarized
She'd be more
when she
polarized
feels like you're in control.
If you don't hold
You're
space.
in command. So in the academy, yeah, there's some holding space in our student-led role plays and our coaching role plays, but the man is always taking charge. So this is what we coach. Men are taking charge, and in that energy, there will be times when they're holding space, but it's always within the context of the man being in charge. His masculine, his instinct is online, and that's where the respect from the woman comes in because she's feeling his provision in the form of his masculine instinct as leadership.
Yeah.
So Ingrid, whose name isn't Ingrid, and Jacob, I know your hands are both up, but I'm just going to address everyone else first, those that haven't spoken yet, and then I'm hoping we'll have time to get back to you guys as well. So don't put your hands down yet. Richard, go ahead.
You're potent.
Hey guys.
I mean, I think about like, what about men? And
Right.
So thank you so much for
Well,
this
they kind of
entire
addressed it,
thing.
just-
But
Well, no,
they
they didn't.
like shit. I'm fucking turned on by these like examples and role playing. I wanted to share just something that I observed, which was how insanely emotionally intelligent the men were in these role plays and in these instances. And there seems to be like they can handle the triggers and they can handle their own wounds. So then my question is, how much healing does the man have to do on his own, right? So that he can actually maneuver and because it's a high pressure, high intensity situation, right? So he has to be able to navigate that energy. But a lot of guys, they don't know what energy is, right? Like they're not even aware that they feel emotion. That we're so emotionally constipated that we can't guide, traffic, navigate anything, which I'm guessing is part of where the leadership and the ability to coach your woman comes in and what you guys teach too. But a lot of guys don't have experience in being coaches themselves.
He's kind of
asking. Yeah. So great question. So first of all, the first part of the polarization process is always the hardest, right? Because you got a man who doesn't feel comfortable leading, doesn't have the skills to coach, to be emotionally centered. And then you got a woman who's super disrespectful, right? And a lot of it, she's not aware. It's not like, hopefully, she's not doing it purposefully. Most of it is just, she's not conscious of what she is doing, but she is doing it, and then she's got her own triggers on top of that. So when you start that process, there is going to be a lot of off-centeredness from the man, right? And that's just gonna be part of the process. And of course, you want to be as responsible as possible as you can as a man, as well as being accountable for everything, right? Like you can say as a man, hey, and I think Jason did it in his role play, I was off-center right there. Right? And he took responsibility for that. Another thing that you can do as a man is you don't need to be actively leading the entire time, right? You can take time for yourself. You can say, hey, I need a moment. Stop talking for a second and take the time to recenter yourself. Yeah. Right? Yeah. As you start to go through this polarization process, guess what's going to happen? Your woman is going to become increasingly respectful. She's going to understand, okay, I need to be using feminine communication, asking permission, expressing my feelings instead of saying you're disrespecting me, all that kind of stuff. And then the man's triggers, there's going to be way less of them, right? The worst part of the triggers is when a man is not addressing all of this stuff, right? What Mark calls it, letting minnows through the net, right? Just leading, resisting, disrespecting, and then there's this buildup of disrespect, and that's going to feel really charged in his body, right? And so when he tries leading, what's going to happen? He's going to be really off-center. The less minnows that he's letting through the net, the more that his woman is starting to communicate in respectful communication, the easier it's going to be to stay centered. It's okay that you don't start perfect as a man. Nobody would expect that. That would be crazy. Oh, yeah. Right? As long as you are being accountable and you're doing the best that you can. Women, here's something about women. They're actually really, at least in my experience, really forgiving, right? No woman is expecting any man to be perfect as long as you can be accountable and you're working towards becoming a dominant man and leading her in that way. And you have an inner vision for her, and telling her where you plan to lead her and lead yourself. That's okay. You'll work through that wounding, through that off-centeredness in a relationship. And you mentioned doing that all off by yourself. I don't know where that's going to happen. And of course, there's some stuff that you can do by yourself, but most of it is going to happen in a relationship. And then it's the same thing for a woman, right? Like women who, I got to masturbate in the forest for 10 years before I can even have a relationship. Like, no, you can start a relationship, just start being accountable and start using feminine communication. And your man will be really forgiving as long as you're putting in the effort and being responsible as you can. A woman will have those triggered moments, of course, maybe a lot, but as long as she's really working on herself, men can be really forgiving.
Yeah. So in this context, let's imagine the man is completely wounded. That's phase one. Really wounded, really overwhelmed by his wound. No energetic self-mastery. Second phase, he's really come to terms with his wounding.
You're in that
He's getting more energetic self-mastery. Third phase, boom, energetic self-mastery. He's got, he's a master of what's happening inside of him, master of his feelings. Christian here is asking about what does a masculine man do with his feelings, okay? So in the academy, we actually have couples.
I'll sit there if you don't want
A good many couples have gone through the academy. And there's two pressures, really, for the man to evolve. First pressure, most important pressure, is within him. Okay? So a man is programmed at the instinctual level to offer provision to his woman, to serve his woman with his gifts. Now, how can he do that if he's a fuck up? Right? If he doesn't master himself, his provision is minimal. So right when men come into the academy and those instincts come online, guess what they usually experience? A backlog of irritation from all the years, decades of emasculation, self-emasculation ultimately. So then they have the imperative to lead the women with devotion. That's what dominance means as we define it. Well, how does a man with a backlog of irritation, full of wounds, in that first phase, lead a woman with devotion? Guess what he's got to do first? And this is addressed to Christian and Quinn. He's got to feel his feelings. He's got to feel his irritation, especially. And we say that irritation is an invitation to lead better. Now, this is his need to be mastering himself energetically. Because guess what happens when your masculine instinct is finally starting to come online? You're feeling that irritation. Holy shit, you can be in the middle of a wildfire. But you don't want to do that because that's hell. There's no energetic self-mastery. So the need to have your shit together comes from within a man. He's leading himself. Only a man can really lead himself, can lead a woman. What is he doing? He's leading himself to greater and greater energetic self-mastery. That's what he does with his feelings. Everything that he's feeling, he's going to master to lead himself and lead his woman. Well, what does it mean to master those feelings? To master the feelings is to have them serve as rocket fuel for being a better leader of oneself and a better leader of one's woman, a better leader of one's family, a better leader of one's community. The feelings inside for a man are feedback on how to do it better, how to show up better. Second thing.
Mark, we got to be really careful with time. So 30 seconds or less, and then let's move on here and keep the questions short.
All right. I'll make it quick. The second thing is he's coaching his woman to vulnerably share her feelings. Okay? So that's what motivates him to evolve. He actually cares and needs to do a better job because his woman is giving him that vulnerably and permissively shared feedback of her feelings, needs, desires, and problems. So that's the second thing that makes him evolve to energetic self-mastery. Done.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Women are different, so they have to do different things.
Yeah.
I probably am taking a different route here, but I actually started crying towards the end. I was so moved by, I forgot the girl's name, but I think I was in a marriage for over 20 years and only been divorced for about 8. And all I did was argue it was just a terrible marriage. And I didn't know how to communicate everything that was going wrong. And I don't even know why I was so emotional. Yeah. I think I'm trying to, so what I've been practicing the last 6 months is just trying to feel things and actually express them, but and I think I'm doing a decent job, but I'm dating somebody and I feel like it's going well, but I think I'm holding back a lot because I don't want to mess anything up.
Okay.
Yeah. So, is that especially with feelings?
It melts me to hear her.
Okay. So, what are you feeling right now, Lauren?
Yeah.
I'm emotional. I feel really emotional.
Is that sadness? What is that feeling?
I felt really sad when she said she felt sad and angered, and I was just like, I don't know. I was just really triggered by it. It just like all these emotions came up, and I'm still, as you can see, I don't know. I'm emotional wreck. I didn't expect that at all on this call.
Yeah. So first of all, right now, if you are sharing that with a man who cares about you, he's only going to feel more pulled in. Right? He's only going to feel more attracted to you and feel more inspired to step up for you because you're just being real. You're just being honest with those feelings. You're not manipulating him with them. You're not weaponizing them, right? Like what you can do with anger. You're just being honest. And women, the problem, I want to address this really quick. The problem that most women have experienced with a lot of men, either they've truly dated like true assholes, sociopaths, which sometimes is the case.
Not all
a lot of the time, women are expressing feelings like sadness, but they're, it's coming out with like a needy energy where they're trying to take from the man, or they're weaponizing it, or they're manipulating it. There's something off. It's not true vulnerability. And so what's the message that they get when the man doesn't respond well? I guess my feelings don't matter. I guess they don't have any worth. I guess I need to keep them closed off. Otherwise, I'll just keep pushing a man away.